Now we move into my quick predictions real quickly for a Great American Bash coming up on Sunday. They have 7 matches on the card, actually. Well, no, 6, I'm sorry. They have 7 if you include the pre-show, which they are doing this time. They had a pre-show match for the Stand and Deliver show, which was also, I think, an 8-person tag team match back in April. They did not do a pre-show match when they went to Battleground in May, but they're doing one here. It's going to be Dragon Lee, Nathan Frazier, Ulyssa Leone, and Valentina Feroz taking on the Metaphor, consisting of Noam Dar, Ora Mensa, Jakara Jackson, and Lash Legend. I really don't care who wins here. They're feuding over the Heritage Cup Championship, which, again, who gives a shit? I would probably just have the baby faces go over. The Metaphor just formed, so they probably will win. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'll just go with the babyface team of Dragon Lee, Frazier, Leone, and Feroz. On the actual show, the NXT North American Championship defended not with Ali and Wesley anymore. It's going to be a triple threat with Dirty Dominic Mysterio defending against both Wesley and Mustafa Ali in a triple threat now. They just put the belt on Dominic, so I fear that they're doing a triple threat because they're going to have Wesley pin Ali to win the championship back. I just think that'd be a fucking waste. Now, they did the championship some good by giving it some exposure on Raw and SmackDown this past week, and that's great. But why end the experiment there? Why put it right back on Wesley when Dominic can continue to defend it on the main roster and also split his time between the main roster and NXT? I think they know that keeping Dominic on the show and other main roster stars like Rhea Ripley, among others, will continue to boost ratings for NXT and give it more exposure and give people more of an incentive to tune in and kind of get exposure to the newer talents. Keep Dominic Mysterio on NXT with the championship as well as the main roster. I would have Dirty Dominic Mysterio win here. Dirty Dom. I think he will win, and I think he should win. You can give Wesley the championship back at some point. It won't really mean anything for him to win the championship back after a week. Keep him in chase mode a little bit longer, have him beat Dominic down the road, and have it mean something. Dominic hasn't really lost a lot in the last number of months. He lost to Ray at WrestleMania and Cody at Money in the Bank. He doesn't lose a lot of singles matches these days. And this wouldn't be a singles match. I just feel like if you give the belt right back to, not Ali, but Wesley here, I feel like it's a case of where if he pins Ali, what does he really gain? He gains a championship back that he had before. It was kind of a fucking waste. And you don't really elevate Wesley at all because he pins Ali and not Dirty Dom. So I'd have Dirty Dominic Mysterio retain here and keep the feud going between him and Wesley. Tiffany Stratton defending the NXT Women's Championship against Thea Hale in a submission match. So this is a rematch from the Gold Rush show a couple of weeks ago, back in late May, I think it was late June actually, about a month ago, where Stratton won the match, but she had, evidently, it was pretty clear she had tapped to Thea Hale when the referee wasn't looking. So they built to a rematch, and I'm glad they did. I haven't really been the biggest Chase U fan in the last couple of years, but they've gotten over at a high level. Thea Hale is very popular. She's a great underdog. I would not have her end Tiffany's run here, but she should come close. I don't know what submission Tiffany's going to use to win. If she cheats to win, I'm not sure. She just won the championship 2 months ago. I would not take the title off of her here, but this should be a good match. They don't do submission matches all that often in NXT or just in WWE in general, so I am curious to see how this goes. I think Thea Hale will look good in defeat, come up short. Tiffany's still your champion. NXT Tag Team titles on the line. Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang taking on defending against the families Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. The build-up with Tony D'Angelo going to jail and Lorenzo beating Joe Coffey to get another fucking shot, it was just bizarre. The fact that Tony D'Angelo's prison sentence was on the line in a match is the most WWE thing I've ever heard. But listen, I'm hoping the family win here. I think Gallus are a good team. They just haven't really been overly exciting. They've also beaten every team that NXT has. They've beaten the Dyad. They've beaten the Creed brothers. They've beaten a lot of teams. They even beat the family, actually, at the Stand and Deliver show, but not in a straight-up match. I just don't know what other teams there are for them to defend against. Babyface teams, that is. I would have Tony and Stacks win the titles here. Tony has not won any championship gold in NXT so far. He's gone for the NXT North American title a couple times, lost every time. He's even gone for the tag team titles. I think they should win the championships here. I thought Gallus would lose it at Battleground. They did not. I do think we are getting the championship changing hands on this show. Roxanne Perez, easy for me to say, taking on Blair Davenport in a Weapons Wild match. Now, how similar, or rather unsimilar, whatever the word might be, how different this is going to be from the the weaponized cage match that, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane had a month ago. I mean, that was literally a month or two ago. To go back to the whole weapons thing so soon after in another women's match seems a little unoriginal to me. But I like the fact they gave the match stipulation and the fact they're even on the show. It's cool that we're getting 2 women's matches on this show, and actually 3 if you include the pre-show. But anyway, this should be a good match. Their first match was good. Blair Davenport is quite good. She won their first match. In an ideal world, I would have Blair Davenport pick up a second straight win over Roxanne and continue to build her up. I do think that they're going to give Roxanne the win here, and that's fine. But if Roxanne's on her way out of the brand, which I'm not sure if she is or not, she should lose here 2-0, go 0-2 against Blair Davenport. I'm not confident that's the case, though. I think Roxanne Perez wins, and that's fine. I just think Blair Davenport winning would be a pleasant surprise. Gable Steveson actually making his in-ring debut on the show, which I was not expecting. They added it to the show last minute on Tuesday's episode against Baron Corbin. So this is an interesting case in that they're in the process of rebuilding Baron Corbin right now. This feels like it came out of fucking nowhere because they had Gable Steveson on the show a couple of weeks ago with Eddie Thorpe, and you thought that would be it. There were also rumors that he might be going back to like a wrestling career or whatever and come back to WWE down the road. That might have just been like stuff they put out intentionally to make you think that he wasn't staying in NXT. I'm not sure because the whole segment on Tuesday was that, what's his decision going to be? It seems like he's sticking with NXT for the foreseeable future anyway. But like they haven't really had him on the show a whole lot, and they just added it to the show at the last minute. And Baron Corbin has been getting the vignette treatment for weeks now. Why did they not have any other heels they could put Stevenson in the ring with? Like I just thought that was weird. I don't know how good the match is going to be. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. I just think having Corbin be rebuilt and repackaged and then having him fucking lose within a matter of weeks is just weird. And I just wouldn't do that. But it seems like that's what's going to happen. He's going to lose here to Gable Steveson. And I would just be shocked if Gable Steveson lost in his debut match for NXT against Baron Corbin of all people. But like I said, I am curious to see how the match shakes out. And then the main event, Carmelo Hayes defending the NXT Championship against Ilja Dragunov. This should be a great match. The build is kind of lacked. With NXT kind of focused on Judgment Day right now, among other stuff, the build of this match has kind of suffered. It also came together at the last minute as well. Ilja just beat Braun Breaker in a number 1 contenders match like 2 weeks ago. So it was a very slap-together matchup. But I am looking forward to it. I don't think Dragunov takes the championship here. Carmelo's only been champion for a few months. If Carmelo's headed to the main roster, which is very much a possibility, he interacted with Bobby Lashley last week on SmackDown, so it's possible Hayes gets to call up and they give the belt to Dragunov. I mean, Dragunov could also just as easily go to the main roster and I think do well, hopefully to mid-card level. At least I would like to think so. I'm not sure if that happens here where he takes the championship. But then Carmelo Hayes holds on to it, retains the title. And I've seen some people say, could Trick Williams turn heel here or at another point? It is possible. I could see a scenario maybe where, like Carmelo came out to save Trick on Tuesday. But maybe Trick Williams spins that and says, listen, I did not need you to fight my fight for me. And they have some issues and whatnot. Maybe Trick cost them the championship. That's their big, shocker to close the match. Dragunov becomes champion. And then Williams and Hayes have a non-title feud. I don't think if they have a championship feud, I don't think Williams wins. I think it's more likely they have a non-title feud. That's only if they go in that direction. I'm not, positive that they are. But I'm just saying that was kind of like a small vibe of what I got on Tuesday with Williams kind of doing his own thing against his better judgment and against Hayes' own advice. We'll see what they do, but I'm looking forward to the match. I do think Carmelo Hayes walks out still NXT champion.